Hello students, welcome to this video tutorial on calculating theoretical probability, method 3 using tree diagrams, part 2. So we're going to go on to example 2. So hopefully example 1 made a little bit of sense, and as we work on more and more examples, hopefully it'll become more and more comfortable. So let's read example 2 together, okay? You can inline skate or bike to the library, mall, playground, or a friend's house. Use a tree diagram to find the number of possible outcomes and the probability of each combination. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to identify the two events. So it looks like the first event deals with how we're going to get there. So I called it transport. So how many options do we have? Well, we have inline skate or bike. Okay, so let's go immediately to the tree then. So for the top branch, right up here, the first thing that we were given was inline skate. So I want you to neatly print that in. If you have to use two lines, that's fine because you've got a lot of room here. So what's the other method of transport that you can choose? That is bike. Okay, so down here for the other outcome, we can choose bike. All right, so that takes care of the first event. Now, what's the second event? Well, the second event looks like we can choose where to go. So it looks like we have four options: the library, the mall, the playground, or a friend's house. So this is event 2, the place. All right, so let's fill in the next set of branches of our tree diagram. So here, let's put them in the order that they were given in the question. So the first option is we can go to the library. The second option is we can go to the mall. The third option, we can go to the playground. And then the fourth option for the place or the destination is we can go to friends. Okay, you can just put friends if you don't have a lot of room. Okay, so now this set of branches is going to be copied down here. It has to look exactly the same because we have the same four outcomes: library, mall, playground, and friend's house. So while I'm typing, can you write those in the exact same order? Okay, so again, the bottom part of the tree has to look exactly the same as the top half of the tree. Now in this case, there's only two halves, right? Because we have only two outcomes in our first part of the tree here. Okay, so do you remember how to list the outcomes? We just follow the branches. So the first outcome, we follow this branch, we have inline skate, and then we follow this branch to the library. So why don't we make it as short as possible, and why don't we write skate to library? So why don't I give you a little bit of a head start, and I want you to list all of the outcomes down this column here. Okay, so the first four outcomes, I finished them. We have skate to library, skate to mall, skate to playground, skate to friends. All right, so how about the next set of outcomes? They're going to be totally different, aren't they? Now remember, now we're on the branch or the stem that has to deal with bike. Okay, so the next four outcomes, I've got them here. So now we're going to bike to the library, bike to the mall, bike to the playground, or bike to friends. Did you get all of those outcomes? Okay, so the next step, we got to write our fractions on every branch. Okay, so let's look at our first event. We have two choices. We can choose inline skate or bike. So this is pretty easy. So we have a 1 in 2 chance of choosing inline skate, or we have a probability of 1/2 to choose bike. Okay, so now let's look at the next event. I want you to completely ignore the first event. How many options or outcomes do we have? We have 4. We can go to the library, we can go to the mall, we can go to the playground, or we can go to a friend's house. So for each branch, what is the fraction? What is the probability? I hope you said 1/4. Now remember, in the previous question, it was 1/3 because we had 3 separate branches. But in this one, it's 1/4. Okay? And then we're going to do the same to this set of branches in the lower half of the tree. We have 1 in 4 chances of going to the library, 1 in 4 chances of going to the mall, 1 in 4 chances of going to the playground, and 1 in 4 chances of going to a friend's house. Okay, so when we go to calculate probability, we're actually using method 2 in method 3, aren't we? Method 2 was, remember, multiplying fractions. So we're actually using method 2 along with our tree diagram. So if we're going to skate to the library, let's follow these branches. So if we're going to skate, that's this branch right here. Our first fraction that we come across is 1/2 times. And then if we skate to the library, that is this branch here. What is the fraction we come across? It is 1/4. So we have 1/2 times 1/4. Now when we multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators separately. 1 times 1 is 1. And then we multiply the denominators separately. 2 times 4 is 8. So we have a probability of 1/8 that we will skate to the library. Okay, let's go to the next one. So if you can stay ahead of me, that would be great. So if we're going to skate to the mall, again, we follow along this branch. Skate is 1/2. And if we're going to go to the mall, that is this branch right here, 1/4. 1/2 times 1/4, we've seen this question before, is 1/8. All right, skate to the playground. That is this branch and this branch. So it looks like we have the same combination of fractions. 1/2 times 1/4 equals 1/8. If we're going to skate to a friend's, skate is this branch, to a friend's is this branch, and it's going to look very similar. So I've calculated the first 4 probabilities. These are all of the probabilities that include skating or inline skating. So now let's go to the second half or the bottom half of this tree. Now we're going to bike to these destinations. So we're going to follow this branch down here. Now this branch has the same fraction as the upper branch for inline skate. So you might be thinking, well, these are all going to look exactly the same. So if we were to bike to the library branch has 1/4. Okay? If we're going to bike to the mall, we have 1/2 times 1/4 again. Now, I don't want you to just assume that they're all going to be the same. I want you to have a look. Don't just blindly write them down. I am checking, okay? So, next one, bike to playground. Bike is 1/2, playground is 1/4. So we have 1/2 times 1/4 again. Okay? And then the last outcome, bike to friends. Bike to friends. Bike is 1/2, friends is 1/4. So bike is 1/2 times 1/4 equals 1/8. Okay, so one thing we can do to check this is if we were to add 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8, we would get 8/8, or simply a probability of 1. Okay? So that takes care of example 2. So as we flip the page, you'll notice that I'm not giving you much of the tree at all, if anything. Okay, so you can progress on to the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.